Match lasted 2 seconds after that. Reggie pins Akira Tozawa. Akira Tozawa gets carried off by Tamina. And Reggie and Dana Brooke are in the ring celebrating. I read the review of this match also on Bleacher Report, and they had my opinion basically on there, which was Dana Brooke and Reggie, great combination. Akira Tozawa and Tamina, great combination. But it's kind of run its course. It's time to end this. Maybe at WrestleMania we'll get those big blow-offs where where titles changing hands like the old days of the Hardcore Championship, and that's what happens. I don't know. In your main event, we got Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles in the class. These guys could be blindfolded in a dark room with padding on the wall, and they could be half asleep and drugged, and they still have a 4-star match. These guys are amazing in the ring. I think it was Bully Ray who said on Twitter, I don't know who it was. It might have been Bully Ray, it might have been Mick Foley. Can we just admit that these guys are two of the best performers in the world now? After this match, they just put on a great show. Edge comes in with a steel chair, costs Seth Rollins the win. Seth Rollins gets disqualified. AJ Styles will face Edge at WrestleMania. Seth Rollins then starts destroying everything, grabs a microphone and yells, "This is bullshit! I've had it with this bullshit. I know you guys have had it with this bullshit." He destroyed the ring, destroyed the table, and said, "Raw will not go on next week until I get my WrestleMania match." So I guess Seth Rollins is going to hijack Raw, and that's when Cody Rhodes is going to show up. Something's going to happen. I wrote on Twitter to a couple fans' responses of the show, and I said, how cool would it be, instead of after the main event, Cody showing up or whatever happens, Seth loses the match, lights cut out, lights come back on, and on the ramp, the man comes around for one last match, and all you see is The Undertaker just tip his hat to Seth Rollins. And he gets Seth Rollins versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania. I know he's retiring. I know he had the perfect go-away match at WrestleMania 36 versus AJ Styles. But come on, wouldn't that be a great match? Seth Rollins and The Undertaker. I don't know. I would just love to see it. I would. We never will, but I always thought that would be a great match. And then Raw goes to black. That's the end of the show. Seth Rollins destroys the ring and destroys the announcer's table, and that's how it ends. No Cody Rhodes yet. So people who bet Raw before WrestleMania or WrestleMania for Cody Rhodes' appearance, you still got in the pool, baby. Very good Raw. I was very excited. It made me excited for WrestleMania. They're definitely building this right. Now let's go to the WrestleMania card as it stands right now. Okay? We got Brock Roman for the WWE Universal Championship. Whoever wins is the WWE Universal Champion. Winner take all. We also have the SmackDown Women's Champion, Ronda Rousey, and Charlotte Flair. Whoever wins is SmackDown Women's Champion. Raw Women's Championship, Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair. Becky Lynch defending against Belair. Miz and Logan Paul versus the Mysterios. I don't know why I'm looking forward to that match so much. I don't know. I guess it's because Bad Bunny kind of set the bar now for guest performers. Wow, I never thought I'd say that. Edge versus AJ Styles. Show stealer, in my opinion. Kevin Owens in the KO show with special guest Stone Cold Steve Austin, which may turn into a match, apparently. And then you have Naomi and Sasha versus Liv for Brutality versus Queen Zelina and Carmella versus Natalya and Shayna Baszler for the women's tag team titles. You got Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville in an Anything Goes match. You got Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory. The Street Profits versus RK Bro versus Alpha Academy for the Raw Tag Team titles. The Usos versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs. For the SmackDown Tag Team titles, McIntyre versus Corbin. And those are the announced matches. Again, I imagine we'll get the Andre Giant Battle Royal, which was teased a little on Raw with a look back at was Snickers' look back at WrestleMania 33 when Gronk got into the ring and helped Mojo Rawley win the Andre Giant Battle Royal against Jinder Mahal. Apparently, the Women's Battle Royal is on the card. They are going to put it in. There will be a Women's Battle Royal, which leads me to believe there will be an Andre Giant Battle Royal. You have Damian Priest versus Finn Balor for U.S. Championship, for U.S. title. I believe will go on there as well. Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes. That is all but guaranteed now. Omos versus Bobby Lashley. All but guaranteed, apparently. And Ricochet will probably be in there for an IC title match. I hope they give it a ladder match in honor of the late, great Razor Ramon. Remember to hug your loved ones, ladies and gentlemen. You never know when they'll be gone. Yeah. Alright, let's not dwell on the sadness. Time to go to the worst WrestleMania of all time. Coming from Caesar's Palace! WrestleMania 9 in Las Vegas. The world's largest toga party. That was the tagline for this. 16,000 in attendance for the largest toga party. It kicked off with a dark match of Tito Santana versus Papa Shango. You know, for some reason, I would like to see that. I would actually like to see that match. 8 minutes, Papa Shango takes the loss to Tito Santana. We then got to kick off the main show, Tatanka with Sensational Sherry versus Shawn Michaels with Luna Vachon. I can never say that name right. For the WWF Intercontinental title, Shawn Michaels going in as a champion. You had Tatanka as the undefeated streak going on, I believe. I believe he was still undefeated at the time going into this match. It was a good match, probably the best match of the night, unfortunately, with they would have a DQ finish after the ref gets pulled out. Tatanka hits Shawn Michaels in the middle of the ring, goes to pin him, and the ref then decides, no, I'm calling for the DQ now. That was always a weird one to me. I'm like, what the fuck? Why was that? Huh? You could tell he meant to call the DQ earlier, but he got caught up in all the action, and the referee fucked that up. Again, best match of the night by far. 18 minutes and 13 seconds for that one. And then you get a tag team match, which is probably the second or third best match of the night. So you get the Steiner brothers versus the Head Shrinkers with his Samu and Fatu. Fatu, by the way, would become later Rikishi. They would also be covered by Afa, one half of the Crazy Samoans. The other half would be Sika, who is the father of current Universal Champion Roman Reigns. Woo! And you would also have Rick and Scott Steiner. Rick Steiner is the father of Braun Breaker, who is currently ready to face Dolph Ziggler for the NXT title at Stand and Deliver. A lot of legends in this match, and apparently the Steiners are supposed to go into the Hall of Fame. That is the talk. If there is, congratulations to the Steiners. Anyway, this would be a very good tag team match. The Steiners would pick up the win with some great tag team moves. Great tag team works by both teams, because actually Rikishi wasn't supposed to be a part of this team. He wasn't supposed to be a part of the Head Shrinkers. That part was supposed to go to Yokozuna. But Yokozuna would get injured in a tryout match. He would still get signed because of his size, but Rikishi would become the substitute and would actually fit in very well, and this led to Rikishi actually becoming a star in his own right. So, shout out to that. If you want to learn more about this, WrestleMania 9, actually, watch the Icon series on Peacock or WWE Network, whichever you have, on Yokozuna. It's a great documentary. Actually, what really inspired me to start losing weight, because I loved Yokozuna, and the fact that someone like that could be taken so early because of his weight really inspired me to start losing weight, you know? So, thank you, Yoko. That, even from the grave, you're still helping a lot of wrestling fans. Anyway, it was a very good tag team match, very fun to watch, and it was nice to see the Steiner Brothers get their win here at WrestleMania. After this, we got Doink the Clown versus... Okay, now you're starting to see where this is starting to go, right? Doink the Clown versus Crush in an 8-minute match, which was 7 minutes and 28 seconds too long. This match should have been 2 seconds, and that should have been it. Crush should have destroyed Doink the Clown, but unfortunately he didn't. Doink the Clown would win the match, and actually a second Doink the Clown would appear because they were getting ready to switch Doinks to a new Doink the Clown, and they would introduce the second Doink the Clown in this match, and they would do a mirror thing as a joke, and it just didn't fit. This is where WrestleMania starts to go down the tubes. After this, we get Razor Ramon, shout out to the big man, versus Bob Backlund in a singles match. This match lasted 3 minutes, 45 seconds. Razor Ramon would pick up the win over Bob Backlund. He destroyed Bob Backlund. That's all we need to remember. After this, we got Money Inc., which is Ted DiBiase and Erwin R. Shyster, the WWF Tag Team Champions, defending their championships against the Mega Maniacs, Hulk Hogan, and Brutus the Barber Beefcake, with Jimmy Hart as their manager. Now, Brutus the Barber Beefcake would come in wearing a mask. They would say it's because Erwin R. Shyster destroyed his nose basically with a briefcase. But the real reason was, I believe it was because you had Brutus the Barber Beefcake in a car accident, which almost took his life, but apparently his body was so strong that he was able to survive, and the doctor said you'll never wrestle again. He basically had the orbital bone injury that The Undertaker had, but more severe, and he needed to wear a mask. So they gave him a mask for this WrestleMania, and it led to actually a really cool look. They would find this later on down the road. If you want to learn more about it, watch a WWE series on Peacock or on A&E called WWE Hidden or Most Wanted Treasures, where they would send out actually Top Dollar, the former Top Dollar before being released, would go on the road with legends and find old artifacts from WWE, and they would go more into the money to the Hulk Hogan Mega Maniacs outfits, basically. But back to the match. It would be a good match, not great. Hulk Hogan and Brutus the Barber Beefcake would fight all night. They would fight everything, and they actually ended up knocking the referee out by accident. Jimmy Hart would then take off his jacket to reveal he's wearing a referee shirt. So he gets in the ring, counts the 1, 2, 3. But Jimmy Hart's not a licensed referee. Doesn't count. Disqualification against the Mega Maniacs. And Money Inc. retains their titles. So that is a lot of screwy finishes so far. Okay. We then got Lex Luger and Mr. Perfect in a singles match. Lex Luger versus Mr. Perfect in a 10-minute match. It was an okay match, nothing great. These two, for some reason, they would have better chemistry in WCW, in my opinion, not here. Okay match, nothing to write home about. Ladies and gentlemen, let me say how big a fan I am of Undertaker. How he could get a good match out of anyone. How he could truly work and how he had the streak. But not even he could get anything out of this. Undertaker versus Giant Gonzalez. If you ever watch build-ups or videos about the streak, they always glance over WrestleMania 9. They always talk about the entrance of him coming out to the ring in a chariot with a vulture on it, which is awesome. He was in a feud with Harvey Wimbledon. He had fought off Umaga. the Ugandan Giant. Rest in peace to Umaga as well.